talk to that driver. But if it gets too crazy, if the speeds get too high, possibly this guy gets off the freeway, California Highway Patrol might kind of be forced just to let it go. But right now, though, they are in pursuit, and all they want is talk to this driver for failure to yield. We don't even hear about any kind of other warrants or wants on that vehicle. Very interesting just to see why this person running from law enforcement this morning. Right. Yep. But when anybody's running from law enforcement, you got to kind of think that driver's probably looking more in the rearview mirror than what they're looking ahead of them, and that always adds tension to when we watch these things. And you're right, when he starts changing lanes erratically, that's something different as well. Right now, though, it looks like he's just kind of trying to blend into traffic. I don't know if this is some idea that maybe this driver is just going to just keep driving to their destination and pull over. We've seen that in the past, but in this case, these speeds are just a little bit faster than what's going on down there. And of course, the folks driving this morning, they're just going to work, going about their day. They really having no idea that this vehicle's coming up on them a little faster than what the traffic is. You can see it right there. He's basically passing a lot of these folks. I'm looking out the window just wondering if it's getting a little bit denser down there. It is as we make our way over to John Wayne, so we're going to be in the Costa Mesa area, Santa Ana. So maybe he's going to get stuck in some traffic, but not enough to bring this to an end. Again, you see the California Highway Patrol right there, lights and sirens, kind of warning the public this is coming through. Right, and that's and this is the thing. In this case, right now, we're hearing from our assignment desk that they're getting information that it's a possible female driver behind the wheel. So they're saying that's the only person inside that car. So you just have the driver. In this case, they're saying a female driver. It doesn't really make any difference to California Highway Patrol, but it's just something really to keep an eye on and talk about. This is one of those areas where with the helicopter, I get a little bit worried when we lose them there underneath one of those overpasses, actually at an interchange. But right now, though, Vinny really staying on it, keeping with that car. California Highway Patrol down there on the ground. We're making our way into Irvine. That's going to be our next stop on our pursuit tour as we're making our way south. The vehicle, just a little faster than freeway speeds. The original want, just a failure to yield. And California Highway Patrol, they're behind them in force. And you can see some other officers right there. Don't know if they're going to join the pursuit. Maybe they're going to do another one of those swap outs to make sure that the officers are fresh that are right behind it. Maybe they were just in the area and just happened to see this pursuit just go by. We are in our backup helicopter. Roxy, first of all, I have to apologize. They were asking us about the map and things, and but then we're in a backup helicopter. That was more for our producers. And you're right, though. And this is one of the things when we watch in Skyfox. I know personally something that I always get worried about, especially when they back off from one of these chases and it's somebody driving very erratically. In this case, this vehicle right now we see just a little faster than freeway speeds, but the lights and sirens from the California Highway Patrol, at least they're down there and they're warning the folks on the roadway. Something's coming up, maybe in this case just a little bit faster, but at least it gives the civilians or everybody down there on the road going about their business today an idea that something's going on. Vinny, can you push into that car just a little bit tighter there? I think maybe those officers that we were talking about just moments ago put out some spike strips, because it definitely looks like the driver front is going flat. So hopefully this thing is going to start coming to an end out here as that first tire really starting to get flat out there. Definitely, and you know, this is something that those officers, you know, from California Highway Patrol, all law enforcement, these are things that they really have to, you know, balance out. They have to figure out how they're going to do this. In this case, you know, disabling that vehicle on the freeway, taking out a tire, you know, if the tire goes flat and he pulls over, that's one thing. But if now they have an impaired vehicle and still trying to get away from law enforcement, this could turn into something completely different. Yeah, it definitely slowing down. Definitely slowing down. De- yeah, and you know, Roxy and Tony, that's one of the things we watch these chases all the time. And if that vehicle not stopping, and law enforcement, they, you know, they have information. They can figure out who this car belongs to. This is getting a little bit tense right here because this car definitely down one tire right now. The speeds seem like they're almost speeding up. Maybe it's a little bit of that dust and dirt. Definitely all the way in the emergency lane. But you just kind of got to wonder, this person now with a vehicle that's a little bit impaired, could be a lot impaired depending upon, you know, that driver's skill set. But you just got to wonder, why do you keep running if this really was, as we've been saying, just a traffic stop? This person refusing to stop this morning, and now that tire going flat. I have a feeling we're going to see parts of that coming off that car here in just a moment or two. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, and it looks like they just went through another spike strip. So you're going to kind of wonder if they're going to try, if they're going to have more than one flat tire. Again, these are the types of situations where law enforcement they've got to make these decisions down there. You know, disabling those, you know, taking out those tires. It could stop the car, but then again, it could set up a situation where now this driver has less control of that vehicle, continuing with high speeds. I'm kind of looking up ahead, and just we've been staying on the 405 freeway out here, and now there is no more emergency lane, so back in with traffic, and now we know for a fact at least one flat tire, possibly going to be losing a couple more here as this chase continues. Southbound 405, and I'll get you that city here in just a second. There goes a tire. Yep, there goes a tire. Yeah, and now we're down to the rim. Now those vehicles can drive like that, but you've got to know. Now all of a sudden it's like driving in snow or ice or something like that. That one wheel doesn't have that traction anymore, and right now that wheel is solid. But eventually that's going to start coming apart as well. That's usually when we see those cars start giving up before the driver. But you just, again, I'm just dumbfounded. Why is this woman running from law enforcement this morning? Hopefully nobody gets hurt. Oof. Uh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, the speeds are really picking up too. I'm not sure, but you know, the speeds are really picking up, and you've just, you know, we all know, we've been just talking about it, you know, this vehicle less able to drive quickly, less able to perform. If they have to stop suddenly, you have no tire on that front wheel, so now you're down, you know, a quarter of what your braking capabilities are. And we don't know. That other spike strip might have taken out a tire on the other side, but this person continuing to push that little car this morning, I'm not sure exactly what it is. Might be a little Ford Focus down there, but it really, you know, that truck basically driving next to this person probably saying, hey, don't you know you got a flat tire? And he's got to know that law enforcement is behind him. So just yeah, no tire. Yeah, no tire at all. And it's kind of weird that that one truck is just kind of hanging out there. That also, we talked about that in the past as well. If law enforcement's chasing a vehicle, steer clear, stay away. You know, even if that person has the best intentions, you know, the law enforcement, all of them, they just want to handle this on their own, and they just don't want to see anybody get hurt. Uh, Definitely, and we've been talking about that. It's, we want to kind of see the other side of the vehicle, see if they lost a tire. Maybe now that another one of the front tires is going flat, and that could be a really good thing. Especially, we know these little cars, front wheel drive. If they have both the tires, both actual rubbers missing from those front wheels, now you're just running on rims. It's going to have a hard time stopping, but it's also going to have a hard time getting going again once it does stop. That female driver right now, it's the first time we're actually getting to take a look in the front seat there. I see something in the passenger side, so they said it was just the driver by themselves. Hopefully that it is just that, and maybe there's just things in that front seat. But we're taking a look. We're going to get onto the other side of the car there, see if that passenger side front is going flat as well. Animal. Yep. Yep, definitely, and so that second attempt right there, if that was another attempt for the spike strip, then they weren't able to get the tires. Also, Roxy, I'm kind of with you. You mentioned it. I'm hoping that's not a pet. Looks like we are going to be exiting the freeway right here. We'll get you some streets here in just a second, but this would be the opportunity if there are no other civilian cars around, and there are quite a bit. This might be a spot where the California Highway Patrol might be able to use a pit maneuver. There you go. You saw those sparks coming off that front wheel when they were locking it up right there as they're coming up to traffic. This is one of those ones where a lot of people at home, they're armchair generals. They're like, just block them in. They just can't do that. It's just not their policy. And again, their attempts right now is, even though that's a suspect, they don't want to see anybody get hurt, and that's including that suspect, and they don't want to put him in a position where they're going to block him in and then something dangerous is going to happen. Looks like, nope, we're not getting back onto the freeway. We'll get you some streets here in just a moment, but now off of the freeway, on the surface streets, and we are definitely going to be in the Mission Viejo area. We just don't know. We're working. I'm working with Vinny and our pilot this morning. We're trying to make sure we stay in a position where we can keep an eye on this car. All these times they're in traffic like that, we've seen these in the past, and I just kind of wonder if this person really has a destination for some reason. Maybe they just want to get the car back to their home, or they feel safer there for some reason. This is one of those situations where, whatever the reasoning is, I can assure you that that vehicle's probably going to wind up in impound, even if it is parked at this person's residence. So you always kind of wonder why they seem to want to go someplace opposed to just pull over, and especially if it's something as minor as just a traffic infraction. The chase continuing out here, and again, I believe we're going to be on Paseo de Valencia. Again, we're still working to get here exactly the street names, but you can see this chase continuing, and again, very little traffic. But when we come up these red lights, you know that car impaired, hitting the brakes hard there. At least they stopped at the traffic light. It's over there. That's right, Roxy, and we've talked about that in the past as well. If he's running a stop sign, if he's not using his blinker or something, this could be the time when they could do the pit maneuver. You can see that car kind of just the wheels spinning right there as they're trying to get that speed up, and that's what we were talking about. With no tire on there, his stopping abilities are impaired, but then also his driving, the go part is, acceleration impaired as well. That one California Highway Patrol vehicle looks like they want to set it up, but they want to make sure that they're going to be safe, and they want to make sure that there's no oncoming traffic as well or cars around it. We're getting Skyfox back into position here, and we'll keep an eye on this chase. That might be the way they bring it to an end, or they might have information that this vehicle is going to a residence because they know where that vehicle is registered to. So maybe they are just kind of weighing it out. Should we just follow, or maybe we should try to bring this thing to an end? Just right, for sure. And we've seen it in the past where, the California, or any law enforcement, they'll go ahead, they'll do those pit maneuvers, and it'll be a little too fast, or we're so used to watching this, we know the procedures, and we'll watch something like that, and we just kind of go, oh, he's good, look how fast, and they do. There is a reason behind why they do it when they do it, and we've seen them go south, we've seen them go wrong, and we also seen him act very well, very well. Here we go, a hard stop again, and looks like he's trying to, oh, look at that. See, this is where it's going to start getting really dicey, and this is where the California Highway Patrol is going to say they're taking too many chances, and they're going to try to bring this to an end. Well, that's what the big fear is right there, is that, right now the stopping ability is where we're more worried about. And you're right, Michaela. A lot of that smoke, probably that front wheel, that drive wheel, just spinning because it has no tire on it. So when this driver's trying to go, it's just going to start spinning, and it's really going to damage the rim, and that might be the big plus. That might be what brings us to an end when that car runs out of rim. It just might not be able to go anymore. California Highway Patrol, they're tasked with a difficult question: how to bring this thing to an end. There's just saying it was just a traffic stop. It wasn't. The person wasn't wanted for anything. I can tell you we're going to be southbound. I believe we're on Alicia Parkway, and it looks like we're passing over the 73. No interest on that road, so we're going to continue on Alicia Parkway. And again, California Highway Patrol right there in that person's rearview mirror. All they have to do is pull over. That would bring it to an end. Until then, it's dangerous for everybody involved. That's right, Michaela. And, you're right. This vehicle, for the most part, stopping or trying to stop when it needs to be safe. We did see it run that one light earlier on, but it basically was just trying to, here we go again. There's another green in the center there, hard on the brakes. You saw a lot of smoke coming. Was just trying to, here we go again. There's another green in the center there, hard on the brakes. You saw a lot of smoke coming from that front wheel, and this oddness to have, sirens are probably going, and just to be now sitting there waiting for the light. This is one of those situations.
Yeah, as we mentioned, the signal from the helicopter is going to be touch and go a little bit. We're watching this pursuit. We're thinking that we're getting probably towards the end of it again, because the driver's front side wheel they used a spike strip on it. You'll notice CHP, when they stop at an intersection, they have their hands on the door ready to exit the vehicle if need be. They're giving this driver some space. They're staying on her. By the way, we know it's a female driver from what it appears, but they're not doing anything aggressive in terms of putting themselves at risk or that driver or other drivers, commuters on the roads there in Orange County at risk. Give us a locator, if you can, roughly where we are now, Stu.
Well, but we're on Alicia Parkway. We're trying to work on that cross. It does seem to be pretty much of a major cross right there. So I'm guessing, I'm going to take a guess right now, that's Aliso Creek Road. And
Okay.
again, there you go, Michaela, that's what you were talking about. Slow on the go. There's no traction on that front wheel. This time we didn't see her really kind of hammer it and see that sparks in the spinning of the wheel, just kind of going a little bit slower. You're right. The officers, and we've been watching, you know, California, and especially out here in the southern part of California. Now we're in Orange County. We are very tender with our way we handle our pursuits, meaning these officers have a lot of protocol and a lot of discipline, and they will plan this out, and they have to weigh the pros and cons. How dangerous is it? How quick, you know, why do we want to get this car off the road? Mm-hmm. In this case, they are really just following right now, which is interesting enough. The lights and sirens, I'm sure, are going to be helping anybody at those intersections. We did see moments ago, I don't know, because we had that signal, we have those signal issues, other vehicles that were around that car at the light basically do lightweight illegal things to get away from that vehicle. So clearly that law enforcement, that California Highway Patrol, using the lights and sirens, people around it doing what they're supposed to do, give this person room, give those law enforcement folks their space as well. But the chase, it continues out here. Very strange indeed. And I'm going to get you a city here as we've been making our way.
It's Laguna de Gil.
Yep, here we go.
Okay, we
here
got
we go.
a situation happening here.
There
Car
we go.
either is going to stop or trying to turn.
That's it. That's
okay.
it. That's
this
it.
Is the end of the
Doing
pursuit.
a little bit of a push. And again, it is so, until that person is out of that vehicle, this could end it very badly, very quickly, if they use that car to try to hurt those officers or continue driving. Right now, though, the one officer, weapons out, the other officer seems to be talking, but those doors not unlocked. So they might have to forcefully get this person, this woman, out of that driver's seat. We'll keep an eye on it. There we go. Looks like right now they're just trying to get her attention, but it's just so bizarre that these sometimes you just don't get out and just just put the cuffs on yourself, maybe even. This is putting so many people at danger, but that one officer right now holstering the weapon, and it looks like they're getting out something to break the windows to get that driver out of the car.
All right. We have somebody on the line with us who knows a little bit more about this kind of situation, how tense they can be. Dennis Zine is former LA City Councilor and also former LAPD with the LAPD. It's really good to talk to you, and I'm sorry that it's over these circumstances. You know all too well about the intensity of a moment like this. It looks like they're breaking the glass to get into the vehicle. They have to make sure they keep themselves safe. They want to try and keep the person that's driving this vehicle as safe as possible. There's a lot of calculations that go into something like this, Dennis.
Absolutely, and good morning to you and the viewers and Stu above in Skyfox. Well, it's a precarious position. The officers, they're in extreme danger at this particular location. Fortunately, the individual is not doing any resisting other than not complying. They will break the window. They use an asp or a baton, a PR-24, break the window to extricate. There we go. They're going to break the window, get the person out of the car. This is a very, very dangerous position for the officers as well as for the individual in the car, because you have no idea what they're into. We're going to get the person out of the car, take into custody. But this stop came to a unique stop. You don't want to have the vehicle in the front. You just want to take them into custody as quickly and as simply as possible. But all those officers were extremely exposed to danger just because of the position where that car stopped and the police car. Yeah, very, very dangerous. But fortunately, it looks like it's going to end with a code 4 and taken into custody. But this is not the way you want to stop the car. They had no alternative, no choice. Sufficient deputies there, highway patrol, there may be Orange County sheriffs also, but the bottom line is it's going to come to an end, and they'll be taken into custody. Why they do this, we never know. Stu knows from his experience, I know from my experience, no reason, no logic, and expose many, many people to danger. But fortunately, this is going to come to an end, but very, very dangerous for the officers. Individual probably will resist to some extent, but sufficient officers there to take them into custody.
Over the years, I've covered my share of pursuits, unfortunately, and I know you've seen your share of them, and Stu certainly has seen his share. And, you know, there's been any number of things that have caused people to run from police, to flee from police, to lead people on a pursuit. But I'd argue that now we've got more troubled people, given what we've just been through, and I think there's a lot of desperation, and so who knows what exactly the state of mind of this driver was. But I'm glad to know that it is over, and that there's no public risk anymore, and we're hoping that that person can get the help they need. Again, the culmination of a pursuit, if you're just tuning in, it ends here. We believe it's Laguna Niguel. It had been on the 405 for some time, reaching high speed at several points during the pursuit. We believe it is a female driver that has now been placed under arrest. You can see it looks as though they're cuffing her on the back of that patrol car. A little tiny vehicle. At some point, they used a spike strip and were able to puncture the driver's side front wheel, and that certainly made it more of a challenge for that driver to maneuver that vehicle. I think that's a wrap for us here on this pursuit. Our thanks to Dennis Zine, former LA City Councilor and former LAPD officer. Good to chat with you.
Same here. Good to see you. Good to see you back on Fox 11 here in LA.
That's nice of you to say, Dennis. Hopefully we can get you back in studio at some point and talk about other things other than pursuits. But good to chat with you. All right, we're going to carry on with the show. Good morning, everyone. Hi. How are you? We'll be back with the full Good Day LA program in a moment. We're going to take a short break, regroup, back in a flash.
Good Day LA is sponsored by Jacoby & Myers. Justice for you since 1972.
Colgate Optic White Renewal removes 10 years of yellow stains. That's like back to 2011.
What about Natalie?
Or Chloe?
Camila?
Well.